In this video, I'm going to show you 10 daily habits that instantly show you have class and are an elegant person. Hello, I'm Juliana Santiago, and here I help you improve your image, your posture, and the impression you make every day. And in today's video, I'm going to show you subtle but extremely powerful habits that make people immediately notice that you are someone elegant and classy. And the most interesting thing is that none of them have anything to do with money, expensive clothes, or social status. These are simple, everyday habits that you can start applying right now, and they completely change the way you are perceived. The first habit is smiling. Classy people don't walk around with a closed-off expression all the time, nor do they force an exaggerated friendliness. It's that gentle, polite smile that appears when you greet someone, when you say thank you, or simply when you enter a room. In the elevator, for example, when someone comes in looking serious without looking at anyone, the feeling is one of coldness, distance, and even unfriendliness, even if the person isn't really like that. But a simple smile along with a good morning immediately breaks the ice and makes the interaction lighter. At work, the same thing happens. The person arrives with a serious face, doesn't greet anyone, and just walks by. That image of being someone difficult, unapproachable, and bad-tempered. And many times that has nothing to do with reality. It's just the absence of simple gestures. A smile isn't about pleasing others. It's about welcoming with class. It starts right there in the way you enter a room and make others feel in your presence. The second habit is to have good posture and a calm expression. And here it's important to make it clear that it's not about being rigid or harsh, it's about alignment. It's about walking in an upright and natural way, sitting with attention, sitting without slouching in the chair, and not walking hunched over with your face pointed toward the ground. In addition, it's about keeping a calm expression, without a constantly irritated look, without a face that seems rushed, and without that expression that looks like you're always complaining in your daily life. This shows up a lot in simple situations, like in a line, for example, when someone starts sighing loudly, rolling their eyes, crossing their arms tightly, or constantly checking their watch. Even without saying a word, the person is already communicating something. Impatience. The same thing happens in meetings. The person sits slouched back with a sloppy posture, a closed expression, or else is too stiff, tense, as if always ready for a confrontation. And that doesn't communicate anything positive. On the other hand, someone who maintains an upright posture and a calm expression, even when tired or waiting, conveys an image of balance, confidence, and self-control. Posture speaks before your mouth does. It communicates who you are even before you introduce yourself or say anything. The third habit is to greet people with presence. Classy people look others in the eye, greet them attentively, and don't try to do everything at once. They don't reach out their hand while still walking. They don't greet people while looking at their phone, nor do they say hi while already turning their back. You know, when someone greets you without really seeing you, that conveys hurry, disinterest, and even a lack of manners, even if that's not the intention. In everyday life, this shows up a lot at work, in meetings, at events, or even in quick encounters. In the elevator, class is stopping for a moment, looking at the person, greeting them politely, and only then moving on. This small gesture makes the other person feel respected and valued, and that says a lot about you. The fourth habit is to move calmly. Classy people don't live in a constant state of visible rush. They don't gesture excessively, they don't talk while walking too fast, they don't bump into people, and they don't seem to always be running late. Even when they're not, even when there's a rush, their body should remain composed. More conscious movements, more restrained gestures, they show a more balanced presence in daily life. This shows up in very simple situations, like when walking in a mall, for example. The person doesn't walk by pushing past those in front of them. She doesn't change direction abruptly, nor does she show irritation at every obstacle. In a restaurant, it shows up in the way you enter, sit down carefully, handle the menu without rushing, and call the waiter discreetly. Even when picking up an object, this becomes clear. The person doesn't stretch abruptly, She doesn't knock things over. She doesn't make unnecessary movements. And if you're noticing how this kind of behavior conveys confidence and elegance, even without saying a word, take the opportunity to like this video and subscribe to the channel, because here I show you in practice how to develop this kind of posture in your daily life. The fifth habit is knowing how to listen attentively. Class isn't about talking all the time or dominating the conversation. Class is truly knowing how to listen. It's listening without interrupting, without finishing the other person's sentence, without picking up your phone every few seconds while the other person is still talking. This happens a lot in everyday life. At work, for example, when someone is explaining something and the other person interrupts to give their own opinion, or even keeps fiddling with their phone. In social gatherings, when someone starts to say something or share an experience, the other person responds with something like, "Oh, that happened to me too." And it completely changes the focus of the conversation in the family when someone tries to vent and only gets half-hearted attention, listening attentively. It makes the other person feel seen, respected, and valued. And people who make others feel this way are naturally perceived as good people. The sixth habit is similar to the last one, which is knowing how to wait, waiting for your turn to speak. Waiting in line without complaining, waiting for the other person to finish a sentence or complete a thought is essential. This habit shows up all the time in daily life. In restaurants, when someone impatiently calls the waiter, in lines, when someone sighs loudly, complains, makes unnecessary comments, or in meetings, when someone interrupts while another person is speaking. Constantly showing impatience communicates anxiety, lack of self-control, and even disrespect. But what about those who know how to wait? Even when in a hurry or upset, they show emotional maturity. That's exactly what class is. Self-control in the face of small frustrations in daily life. The seventh habit is knowing how to be discreet. People with class don't expose everything, don't share details of their personal lives with just anyone, don't talk about themselves all the time, and don't make unnecessary comments. They know what to say, what to avoid, and what simply doesn't need to be shared in everyday life. This becomes apparent when someone starts talking too much, exposing intimate problems in social settings, or making comments that make others uncomfortable. Discretion isn't coldness, it's knowing how to balance things. And this kind of awareness is one of the things I teach in my Etiquette and Good Manners course. The course helps you with everything from posture and first impressions to proper communication in different settings, social interaction, and also table etiquette, so that you feel more confident and convey class in any situation. This learning will help you act more naturally, avoid unnecessary embarrassment, and feel confident in any environment, whether social or professional. Over time, you notice that people start to respect you more, listen to you more attentively, and see you as having a more elegant and balanced presence. If you want to develop this in a practical way, just point your phone at the QR code that appears here on the screen or click the link that's right here in the description of this video. Another habit of an elegant person is knowing how to apologize. Classy people have no trouble admitting their mistakes. They don't over-justify, they don't try to explain themselves excessively, and they don't blame others. They simply take responsibility and say sorry. "You're right," said sincerely is extremely elegant. This shows up at work when someone realizes they've spoken inappropriately, or even at home, when someone notices they've gone overboard with their tone, or in any relationship. When the person realizes and understands they've made a mistake, apologizing doesn't diminish anyone. On the contrary, it elevates them. The ninth habit is to speak with clarity and kindness. It's not about using complicated words or talking too much. It's about choosing your words carefully, having an appropriate tone of voice, and avoiding aggression disguised as sincerity. Many people believe being direct is harsh, but that's not true in daily life. This comes up in simple requests, like asking for something, correcting someone, or bringing up a sensitive topic. Those who speak with clarity and kindness are listened to more openly and face less resistance. Kindness is a silent form of class. Another habit, which is one of the most important on this list, is treating everyone with respect, regardless of the position that person holds. From those who work at the front desk, answer the phone, or provide services, to people in leadership positions in everyday life. This becomes very clear in the way you speak to someone who serves coffee, someone who cleans a place, or someone who provides simple service. The way you treat those who can't offer you anything in return says a lot about who you are. Class shows exactly there when no one is watching you, but you still act with respect, even so. And if you want to keep developing this kind of attitude in different situations in your daily life, watch this next video I already made about etiquette mistakes that can embarrass you on a plane. But first, click the link in the description of this video to access our website and get our etiquette and good manners training. This is the moment for you to develop your posture, your communication, and your social interaction. Table etiquette, also in a conscious and prepared way. I'll be waiting for you. Thank you so much, and see you in the next video.